Hello everyone, in this video I am going to talk about the properties of trigonometric functions, or in short trig functions. Here I'm going to discuss about the properties of sine theta, cosine theta, and the ratio of these two, tangent theta and cotangent theta, and the reciprocal of sine and cosine, cosecant theta and secant theta. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to go ahead and define a right triangle. So this is 90 degrees, and let's call these angles angle A, angle B, and angle C. And I will also label this angle as theta. So everything will be with respect to this theta, angle B. Now, as you already know, sine of theta represents opposite over hypotenuse, and cosine of theta represents adjacent over hypotenuse. So having said that, let me go ahead and do the following. Let me do a little bit more labeling. Side opposite to angle A, I'm going to call it A, lowercase a. Side opposite to angle B, I'm going to call it lowercase b. And side opposite to angle C, and I'm going to call it lowercase c. So my sine of theta is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. My opposite is B, and my hypotenuse is A. My cosine of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is adjacent is C, and the hypotenuse is A. Now, what if I square these two things? Then I'm going to get sine square of theta is equal to B square over A square. And just a little bit notation for your reference, sine square of theta means sine of theta whole square. That's what it means. Just for clarification, instead of writing it this way, we just write sine square of theta. And similarly, cosine square of theta is going to be equal to C square over A square. Now, if I add both of these things, what do I get? Sine square of theta plus cosine square of theta, which is going to be, so sine square of theta is B square over A square, plus cosine square of theta is C square over A square, which is, by the way, B square plus C square over A square. Now, also note that B square plus C square. So B square is square of this side, C square is square of this side, right? And then A square is square of this side. But this is a right triangle. So using the Pythagorean theorem, we know that A square is going to be equal to B square plus C square. So that tells you that hypotenuse square is equal to opposite square times the adjacent square, right? Or hypotenuse square is equal to sum of the squares of the sides. So having said that, so let me go ahead and simplify it a little bit. So B square plus C square is A square. So A square over A square, which is equal to 1. So I just derived the most basic formula that relates the sine functions or trig functions is sine square of theta plus cosine square of theta is equal to 1. Please remember this formula. And it's going to always hold true for a triangle, right triangle, I mean. Now, having said that, we could derive a couple of other formulas, but I'm not going to spend time deriving it, but I'll just tell it to you. And you can easily derive those using the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem tells you that hypotenuse square is equal to sum of the squares of other two sides. So now what you can do is this, you can check it for yourself. Actually, I'll just derive it from here quickly. I will take this side, this equation, and divide both sides by sine square of theta. So divide the left side by sine square of theta. Okay. Now if I divide everything by sine square of theta, what do I get? This gives me 1, right? 1 plus this is sine square of theta over, cosine square of theta over sine square of theta. That is in essence, okay, cosine of theta over sine of theta whole square is equal to 1 over sine of theta whole square. That's what it is. All right. Now, what I can do is this. I could rewrite it. So this is going to be 1 plus, this is cotangent of theta. Cosine of theta over sine of theta is cotangent of theta. That is cotangent square of theta. And 1 over sine theta is cosecant theta. Cosecant theta. So it's going to be cosecant square of theta. So this is another formula. 1 plus cotangent square of theta is equal to cosecant square of theta. Now, instead of dividing this by sine square of theta, had I divided it by cosine square of theta, you will find another formula which is also useful, and that is 1 plus tangent square of theta is equal to secant square of theta. So these are the three basic formulas relating the trig functions: sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, cosecant, and secant. I hope that this discussion was helpful. Thank you very much.